Imagine a hardworking farmer who lived a peaceful life with his beloved wife. One fateful day, everything changed when a group of drunken men attacked her while he was away. Just as it seemed like all hope was lost, something shocking and unexpected happened that turned the situation around and changed their lives forever. Once upon a time, there was a hard-working farmer named Dalziel. He had lived on his family's farm since he was a little boy. His grandparents were the first to settle on the land, and his parents took over after them, making the farm grow and succeed. When Dalziel's parents passed away, he inherited the farm. With his wife by his side, they worked together, selling fresh fruits and vegetables and expanding their land. Thanks to their effort and dedication, the farm became well known in the nearby town. People loved Dalziel's farm fresh produce so much that he even opened a small store in the city to sell directly to customers. Dalziel wasn't just good at farming, he was a man full of ideas. Over the years, he tried different projects. Some made him a lot of money, while others didn't work out. But no matter what, he never gave up. His wife would always say that being with Dalziel felt like standing beside a strong stone wall, always steady and dependable. Together, they raised strong sons who later had families of their own. As the family grew with grandchildren, Dalziel and his wife enjoyed the peaceful life they had built and the rewards of all their hard work. One day, Dalziel's peaceful routine was suddenly disrupted when he heard that he had a new neighbor. The village council had sold a large piece of land to a man from the city, and this news bothered Dalziel deeply. He had hoped to buy that land himself to expand his farm, but it was out of his control now. Frustrated, he complained to the village council, but they simply told him that the sale was final, and there was nothing they could do. Soon after, Dalziel noticed that the new neighbor wasted no time building a massive house. It had a tall fence, a 2-car garage, and all sorts of expensive things that made it clear the man was wealthy. At first, Dalziel was irritated by all the changes, but then he found some comfort when he saw that the neighbor didn't seem interested in farming. All the man did was harvest hay from the land, and that was fine with Dalziel. It meant the neighbor wasn't going to compete with his farm. For a while, Dalziel convinced himself that everything was okay, but as the months passed, doubt started to creep into Dalziel's mind. What if his neighbor decided to start farming? What if he sold produce and stole Dalziel's customers? These thoughts began to trouble him more and more. He shared his worries with his wife, who calmly reassured him that there was no reason to worry. But despite her comforting words, Dalziel couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that things might soon change. One day, feeling overwhelmed by all his worries, Dalziel decided to take a break and clear his mind. He grabbed a basket and headed into the forest, hoping to find some mushrooms. He wandered through his usual spots, searching carefully, but luck wasn't on his side. After hours of walking, all he had found were a few tiny mushrooms. Frustration started to build inside him, and just as he was ready to head home, something unexpected happened. Dalziel heard a voice calling for help. Startled, he looked around and spotted a man at the bottom of a deep ravine. The man had an empty basket beside him, and Dalziel guessed he had also been looking for mushrooms. Without wasting any time, Dalziel made his way carefully down the steep slope. He asked the man if he was okay. The man explained that he had twisted his ankle and couldn't climb back up on his own. Dalziel, without hesitation, helped the man to his feet. Together, they slowly climbed back up the slope, with Dalziel supporting the injured man the whole way. Once they reached level ground, Dalziel asked how the man planned to get home. Seeing that he couldn't walk alone, Dalziel knew he'd have to help him get there. As they talked, the stranger introduced himself as Henry. That's when Dalziel realized the man he had just rescued was his new neighbor, the one he had been so worried about. Despite his earlier suspicions, Dalziel felt responsible for getting Henry home safely, so he helped him the rest of the way. When they reached Henry's house, Henry, not wanting Dalziel to leave just yet, invited him inside for dinner. They sat down to a hearty meal, and the two men began to talk. They shared stories about their work, their families, and their lives. As the evening went on, Dalziel found himself enjoying Henry's company. Henry wasn't the rival Dalziel had imagined. Instead, he was friendly, easy to talk to, and full of interesting stories. By the time Dalziel was ready to leave, he realized he had been wrong about his neighbor all along. Just as they were wrapping up their conversation, A black raven flew in through an open window, cawing loudly. The bird landed on Henry's shoulder as if it belonged there. Henry smiled and explained that he had found the raven injured a year ago and nursed it back to health. Since then, the bird visited him often. Dalziel chuckled, remembering the village rumors that Henry's raven was a bad omen. But Henry didn't seem bothered by the gossip. He found the whole thing amusing. As Dalziel got ready to leave, he noticed it was getting late, and his wife was probably wondering where he was. He said goodbye to Henry and began his walk home. To his surprise, the raven decided to follow him. The bird flew alongside him and even landed near his house. From that day on, the raven became a regular visitor at Dalziel's farm too. It loved the attention, especially from Dalziel's wife, who would feed it and talk to it as if it were family. Life went on peacefully until one day when trouble knocked on their door. Dalziel was working in the barn when two drunken men stumbled toward his house. They started throwing stones at the windows, shattering the glass. Dalziel's wife rushed outside to confront them, but they grabbed her, demanding money. When she refused, they threatened her, hinting that they might do something worse if she didn't listen. Dalziel heard his wife's screams echoing from the barn. Panic filled his heart as he ran toward the house, fearing the worst. By the time he arrived, the screams had stopped, leaving him terrified of what he might find. When Dalziel arrived, he was shocked by what he saw. The raven, which had always been gentle and friendly, had turned into a brave protector. It swooped down from the sky, fiercely attacking one of the men with sharp pecks. The sight was so frightening that the robbers didn't dare to hurt Dalziel's wife any longer. The raven circled above, screeching and diving at the attackers every time they moved. Just then, Henry appeared with a local policeman. Dalziel had managed to call for help during the chaos, and Henry had rushed to his side. The policeman quickly caught the robbers, but the raven was still upset, refusing to calm down. Henry shouted at the bird, reassuring it that the danger was over and that the criminals were being taken away. Finally, the raven settled down and flew back to its spot on the roof of Dalziel's house. From that day on, the friendship between Dalziel and Henry grew even stronger. There was no more suspicion or rivalry between them. They had faced danger together and emerged as allies. The raven continued to visit both homes, becoming a symbol of the special bond that had formed between the two men. That's all for today. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on The Wild Wonder.